Hi, this is Desiree, and I'm here to guide you, heart, mind, and soul, so you can heal your broken heart and write your next beautiful chapter. And today we're going to talk about power, how we lose it, how we gain it, and how we negotiate it in our relationships. And I consider this a really important topic as much as it's great to be in a loving relationship, it's also important that we don't lose sovereignty over our own lives while we're in them. Now, if I were to ask you to name the 3 fundamental characteristics to a healthy relationship, what would you say? Would you say that it's love, chemistry, honesty, maybe trust, or the ability to please your partner and to have them please you? Well, while all of those are nice in theory, and yes, of course, somewhat essential, we need to look at what it really means for both people to hold a healthy sense of power in a relationship. So I would define power in a relationship as the ability to influence and be open to being influenced. That's both self-respecting and other-respecting. So respectful of your partner, and this can be a bit of a tough balance to strike. So what I've discovered through years of work in this field is that attributes like love and chemistry without respect can still breed unrealistic, unfulfilled expectations and emotional distance. Honesty and trust without intentional, demonstrative appreciation for a partner's needs and an understanding of the values that drive them still won't guarantee that a couple don't grow apart. And keeping the balance when it comes to pleasing and having someone please you in a relationship without the ability to communicate with empathy can very quickly lead to issues of resentment, blame, criticism, partner pleasing, and a total loss of identity. So fundamentally, it's the qualities of mutual respect, intentional appreciation, and empathic communication that will allow a relationship to flourish and really go the distance. Okay, so this is a very big topic and we're limited in our time together here, but I want to run through each of these 3 qualities to just give you a little more of an understanding around them. As you listen to what I'm saying, I'd like you to bear in mind also that it's not just about how you apply these 3 attributes to the other person or how they apply them to you in relationship. That's not the only thing that matters. But it's also about how you apply them in your relationship with yourself. Because you're not going to get respect, appreciation, or empathy from anyone if you're not already giving that to yourself. And I don't mean giving it to yourself in a narcissistic way either, like, always wanting everything on your terms or having things the way you think they should be or demanding that your feelings come before someone else's. But rather that you're able to be there for yourself in a healthy way while still responsibly and respectfully sharing your life with someone else. So first, let's look at mutual respect. What does this mean? Respect has everything to do with things like boundaries, preferences, influence, and even ideas and opinions. This is about being able to say no in a way that's responsible to others without taking responsibility for them. It's also about being able to hear and accept and respect when others say no to you. It's about respecting the opinions of others, even if you don't agree, but still allowing them the space to express and share their ideas freely so that they feel that their perspective is understood and validated. Now, you may be listening to this thinking, what? But they never respect my opinion or how I feel or the boundaries that I set. So why should I respect theirs? Well, first off, check to see whether you are validating your own self in a respectful way. And then check to see how you are expressing your ideas, needs, and opinions with them. If you're shouting, blaming, criticizing, being overly confrontational, avoiding them when you're angry, deflecting or turning the tables on them when they come to you with a concern, or you're making everything their fault, then guess what? You're not actually coming from a place of respect, actually not for yourself or for them. You're not dealing with or processing your own emotions first when you're triggered, and then calmly later on, after you've processed it, presenting your thoughts if you're a man and your feelings if you're a woman constructively. So anytime you're coming at your partner from an energy of anger, resentment, or even a desperate attempt to make them respect you, you're not communicating respectfully. And guess what? When you come from that place, they can't hear you. All they see is the neurosis that you're presenting. So you need to process your feelings first and then come to the table with clarity and calm. Now, don't get me wrong here either. There are people out there who, out of deep fear and insecurity, simply cannot be respectful no matter what. And when that's the case, out of respect for yourself, you may well have to consider your options. But be sure, if you do decide to leave, that you have first cleaned up your part in this dynamic. Because if you don't, chances are you're going to end up in exactly the same situation again. It's just not worth it. Now let's move on to the second attribute, intentional appreciation. Now, this is not just saying thank you or showing appreciation for something your partner has done. This is about understanding that the way you view and think about your partner on a day-to-day basis actually affects the way that you treat them. Even if you're, having angry thoughts towards your partner and you're not physically saying them out loud to them, I promise you they're picking up on that. They don't know why they feel antagonistic towards you, but they're feeling contempt from you somehow, and they're going to respond to that. Now, when you're in a conflict situation or when you feel like you're sacrificing in a relationship, which, by the way, actually means you're setting weak boundaries and you need to go back and cultivate more self-respect. But in any conflict situation, you're bound to have negative thoughts towards your partner, right? So let me give you an example. You get into a conflict with your partner and you both manage to resolve whatever the issue was. But afterwards, you start having thoughts like, he can be so careless about what I need. Or, she just seems to want to have her way all the time. It's in these times that you need to draw on this attribute of intentional appreciation. And using these examples, let's go back. And you could say to yourself, is he really that careless about my needs all the time? When do I remember him being quite considerate about what I needed? And in the second example, is it true that she really wants her way all the time? When can I remember, or are there a few times I remember her giving me my way, even when she didn't want to? When you search your mind for positive proof that the way you feel isn't entirely true, because you remember instances where the opposite of what you're thinking right now is true, then you can even go and take it a step further. Go to your partner and thank them for that. Show them appreciation. Feel it in your heart. Show it to them. Every time you do this, you're strengthening your relationship and you're tearing down barriers. Try it. Just for a week, you will be amazed at the difference that it can make to all of your relationships, not just your intimate ones. That's because just like us, at the heart of it all, everybody just wants to be loved and appreciated for who they really are. Now let's move on to the third attribute, which is empathic communication. Now most people just really love to think that they're very good at communicating, but what they forget is that communication is not just about being able to say what's on your mind or express your needs in a kind and considerate way, even though sometimes that can be hard enough. But it's also about listening, about not interrupting when someone's speaking, about listening with your heart, not with a view to understand, and not sort of listening with your head while formulating a response quickly, because then you're not actually in empathy and you're not tuned in to what the other person's point of view is. So they're going to feel denied. It's about being able to recognize and apologize when you're wrong. If someone raises a complaint or concern and you know that you haven't brought your best self, or there's something you need to look at with what they're presenting. And this is why they're upset. Saying something like, "I'm sorry you feel that way," that's not an apology. That's inflammatory, because what you're actually saying is that the other person shouldn't have taken it that way. But being able to say, "It makes sense to me that you feel this way, and I'm sorry for my part in that. I'll take a look at that." That's an empathic apology, because you're letting the other person know that you understand how they feel. You're on their team and you respect them, and you'll work to clean that up. Equally, if you've ever sat and thought to yourself after an event, "I'm really sorry I didn't handle that situation better. I need to do that differently next time," then be honorable towards yourself as well. Make sure that next time around you handle that situation in a way that makes you feel good, makes you feel like you've grown from it. That's how you cultivate real self-trust and self-esteem. Now, if you're currently in a relationship, or you've come from a relationship where you're listening to this and thinking, "Ugh, I'll never have those 3 attributes because of XYZ," or "my partner is so XYZ," it's a hopeless case, then I'm here to ask you to just reserve judgment and softly, softly make the changes we've discussed here today. This is the work of relationships. They're not just happily ever after prince and princess fairy tales. They're here to help us own our stuff and evolve spiritually. When we keep jumping from one relationship to the next because we can't seem to find the right partner, then we actually need to look at whether we're behaving like someone who's the right partner for someone else. The relationships I've seen that are kind of all support with zero challenge aren't the healthiest. In most cases, there's a lot of denial going on and no one is growing. The issue in every relationship in which both people truly love each other, they want to be there. These issues can be figured out through building these 3 fundamental attributes. And of course, this doesn't include relationships. I'm not talking about where there's physical or emotional abuse going on. In those cases, get help and get out, because there's no life and there's no growth going on there. Okay, beautiful. Now it is your turn. Have you ever turned a difficult relationship around? How did you do it? Or have you ever used any of these 3 attributes that we discussed today and gained a stronger relationship from it? Share your comments below this video. Your story may well inspire someone who really needs to hear your words today. So if you want to receive more videos just like this, head over to myluminousheart.com and sign up for my newsletter, where you'll receive regular tools and tips that will help you heal, transform, and empower your life. Stay connected to your heart and keep letting the love in, because you deserve to live the life of your dreams and to share with the world that beautiful, radiant light that only you can shine. Until next time.